So if you ever play any video game, you are probably familiar with all those consumable items. Your potions, medkits, grenades, all that good stuff. Now, be honest, do you ever actually use those, or do you just hoard the stuff like an ill-conceived loot goblin where you never even use it against the final boss of the last level? The reason I bring this up is because back in 0.6, Holocure introduced food items into Hollow House that function similarly to these consumables. But those provide a passive buff that persists through an entire playthrough, rather than a temporary buff which you need to activate. In 0.7 though, we got a new system that provides such a thing, in support items. Support items are items that you can choose in the starting screen along with your prisms and food. You'll need to buy an upgrade in the shop to gain access to them for a cost of 10,000 coins. To use a support item, you'll have to activate it manually using the extra button, mine is mapped to the control key. Afterwards, the item will go on a cooldown in which you can't use it. There are currently 4 support items in the game, all of which are unlocked after you buy the shop upgrade, and I'm willing to bet that more will be added. And don't worry, unlike food, the item doesn't get consumed in a playthrough. So the first support item I'm going to talk about is the Projectile Shield. This gives you a shield that blocks all projectiles for 30 seconds. It has a 90-second cooldown, which initially seems terrible, but situations where projectiles come up are few and far between, only appearing on bosses, mini-bosses in the hard stages, certain set pieces, and the angry Yagus that spawn after 40 minutes in endless mode. However, it is also this reason that makes me consider this support item pretty mediocre. With the exception of the angry Yagus, all of the other situations in which projectiles occur are either easy enough to dodge or relatively inconsequential, meaning it is effectively a dead item for most circumstances outside of a few tricky bosses and maybe the angry Yagus, and that's a big maybe, because all 3 of the 4 support items would be more useful in both of those situations. Even if you decide to use it in those circumstances, the shield's uptime is only 1/3 of its total cooldown, meaning you're going 60 seconds without that shield. The only situation in which I can see it being good is getting the achievement that requires you to play a hard stage without getting hit by projectiles, in which case, stage 1 hard mode with a pacifist stamp and absolute wall will service you just fine. Also, it's completely useless in negating damage from hitting enemies, so don't bother trying. The second support item, the net, is also fairly situational. It shoots out a net in the direction you aim that stuns all enemies caught in it and moves them in front of you, as well as automatically pick up any XP and drops that it catches. Note that it only catches drops that can actually be picked up in your pickup range, like coins and Hollow House drops, meaning you can't catch anvils and hollow zone boxes in it. In addition, I don't think it can pick up character-specific drops because I was using it with Roboco and it was not getting any effect on her batteries. If you're trying to get the Couch Potato achievement, this item is a good pick, because you can drag in XP that ends up outside of your range. Beyond that, this item is pretty mediocre outside of very specific circumstances, like if you're playing as Luna. It does have a 15-second cooldown, which is the second lowest of all the support items, so it has that going for it, I guess. The next support item, the Heal Potion, instantly heals 1/3 of your health and has a cooldown of 30 seconds. It seems good on paper since healing is so useful in-game, but the item is just as useless, if not more so, than the previous 2, because there is really only one situation in which you'll want to use it, which is when you're being overwhelmed by a horde of enemies, and in that situation, the item will not save you. That overwhelming horde of enemies will chew right through your whole health and the extra health you get from healing. In the right circumstances, maybe it can make the difference between life and death, but I have yet to find one of those circumstances. Besides, using an actual healing item is just far better in any situation. As such, it pales in comparison to the last item. The strongest support item, the Quick Dash, moves you a short distance in the direction you are moving and makes you invincible while doing so, and it has a cooldown of 10 seconds. The fact that it moves you in the direction you were previously moving is important to note. Even if you were standing still, you'll still dash in the direction you were previously moving, meaning you can aim in one direction and dash in another. The reason this item is so powerful is because the thing that kills you the most is getting caught in a bad spot which you can't easily escape. With the dash, however, you can just casually move through the swarm that's about to kill you with no concern for your health due to the invincibility and just reposition yourself. In addition, the item allows you to proc several different skills even when the invincibility is active. Skills that activate when you're hit, like Fubuki and Matsuri skills, will still activate even when you dash through a horde of enemies, and even if you run a character that doesn't get an active benefit in that manner, invincibility frames are still that good. Seriously, out of all the support items, this one is the only one you'll ever need. So, those are the support items. The dash is the only one you'll ever need, and the rest are useless. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos, and happy holocuring.